Here's the easiest way to create and print custom gift tags using an iPad. First, you'll want to download and open up this gift tag template. It's entirely free and the link is right in the video description. When you visit the layers palette, you'll notice that there's 3 layers up at the top. There's the trim lines, the hole punch, which is optional, and then there's the bleed line, which just shows you the bounds of each gift tag. This you'll want to turn off at the very end before you print. And then the final layer is where you'll want to place all of your artwork. You can either draw your artwork from scratch on that layer or you can bring in existing artwork. We created this artwork in a tutorial a few weeks ago, which I'll leave a link to on screen. If you turn off the background color layer and then hit the wrench, share, and save it as a PNG, then you'll have it on a transparent background that you can then bring into the gift tag template. Now that we're back in the gift tag template, I'm on the artwork layer. All you'll have to do is hit the wrench, add category, insert a photo, and then select that image that we just exported. Position it over the first gift tag. I like having mine really large so it's kind of cropping off, and I'm making sure to leave a little bit of space for some text. Once I have it in place, I'm going to hit the selection, change the selection setting to rectangle, and draw a rectangle over the bleed area of the first gift tag. Next, come into your layer palette, tap on the layer thumbnail, and choose mask. This will create a mask so that artwork is locked into the gift tag. Create a brand new layer. I'm using the liner brush from my Gouache Lovers brush set to add in a little bit of text, and I've chosen a color from the artwork to do that. Let's do that one more time. Once again, we'll bring in our artwork by hitting the wrench, insert a photo, position that artwork on the gift tag where you'd like it to be. Choose your selection. Draw a rectangle selection over the bleed area. Return to your layers palette, tap on the layer thumbnail, and choose mask. Make sure you disable your selection just by hitting the little selection icon, and then you can add your text to your gift tag. I've created a few other bouquets using the same process shown in that tutorial for the winter bouquet, so I'm going to bring those in and add those to the remaining gift tags following the exact same process. When you get to the bottom gift tags, it can be helpful to rotate your canvas. I added these at the bottom just so we wouldn't waste any of your paper, but they are vertical, so just keep that in mind when you're placing your artwork. Once again, following the exact same steps of inserting the image, positioning it, masking it in, and adding text. Now that we have all of our artwork on our gift tags, it's time to get it ready to print. I've done some test prints ahead of time, and I'll leave a link on screen to how I do my test prints, but because I've done these, I know that I need to add a 50% soft light adjustment layer so this reproduces properly using my printer and the paper that I'm using. In order to apply that setting, I need to group all of my layers together, create a duplicate group, flatten the duplicate, and then change the blend mode to soft light and reduce the opacity to 50%. Once again, this is completely optional, and this just worked best for my printer. At the top of the layers palette, you can see I've labeled each layer so you know which one to use. The trim layer we need to keep visible, the hole punch is optional, and then you will want to make sure that you disable the visibility of your bleed. You no longer need it for your final print. I'm using double-sided matte photo paper. It's my favorite photo paper. It always gives me the best color results. So now let's send this to the printer. Hit the wrench, share, and select TIFF. On the screen that pops up, tap on Print. Make sure your printer is selected up at the top, and we want to make sure the median, quality, and paper size are accurate. Under paper size, make sure letter is selected. Head back to your options and then tap on media and quality. Under media type, make sure photo is selected since we're using photo paper, and we want the best print possible, so toggle that over to best. Once you have these settings popped in, hit print. And here's how that came out. I want to show you how to cut this out now since we have some vertical and horizontal tags. You'll notice that there's a dashed line towards the bottom, and we need to be very aware of this when we're cutting our tags out. I start by taking my ruler, and I use a utility knife. It's much more stable than an X-Acto blade, and I cut along the right side first, but I don't cut the entire paper. I leave the top and the bottom still attached, so my cut doesn't go all the way through. That way I can keep all of my trim lines. For the next line, you'll see that dashed line. We're only cutting to that dashed line, so don't cut all the way down because we don't want to cut through the bottom tag. If you're using a cork back ruler, it'll be much more stable and it's a lot easier to cut. For the second cut, once again, go down to the dashed line. On the third cut, you'll notice that there's 2 trim marks. You'll want to follow the trim mark that's above the dashed line for this one. Just continue on making your cuts and stopping as soon as you hit that dashed line. Once you get to the final cut, I like turning the paper around. That way my ruler has more paper to grip onto as I'm making the cut. And once again, don't cut all the way off the paper. Now we're ready to trim the vertical lines for the bottom tags. Once that's complete, we can make our horizontal cuts, and for these ones, you can just cut straight across. It's okay to cut all the way for these ones if you'd like. And we have all of our tags cut out now. So I'll move all of these scraps away and close my blade. All right, here's the tags, and you can see because we printed out the hole punch guide, you know where the top of the tag is right away. I've got two different hole punches. I actually found this heart-shaped hole punch, which I really love, even though the heart shows up upside down when you cut it. But you just line it up with that little guide that we printed, and then you've got a perfectly positioned hole for your gift tags. So I'll do half of these using the heart hole punch, and then I'll just use the standard hole punch on the other three. But you can see how easy it is to line that up because we've printed that guide. I picked up the set of 3 corner cutters and I love them. There's 3 options for each one. So you've got a rounded one, a straight one, and then like a fancy one. For the straight one, I always use the longest setting, and that has been perfect for the top corners. It gives you that very distinctive gift tag look. I like using this one for the top part of the tag where the hole is. And then I usually play around with different cuts for the bottom 2 corners. Right here, I'm adding a rounded corner. These ones are like fancy ones. My daughter calls this one the tushy one, but it's a cute little decorative option. And then this one's probably the fanciest one. And of course, if you know me, I cannot resist adding a little bit of gold embellishments. So this is really easy to do. You've already got the artwork, so just choose little parts of the artwork and add little gold details. So I usually pop in a few dots around my stamen, add some berry highlights, the edges of a rose. There's a lot of options to add those embellishments. And that is the easiest way to create and print gift tags using an iPad.